One of the biggest things that people don't understand about how humans change, how they change behavior, how they change personality, etc., etc. If there's any change that you want to create in your life, you need to understand how behavior change actually happens. So there's actually no change without awareness, which is obvious. So in order to change something, we need to be aware of it. But there's actually 3 components to awareness. And so there's awareness after, there's awareness during, and there's awareness before. For most people who are trying to change something, they have awareness after. So you do something that you don't like, you don't think is good for you, like you don't actually like doing it, but you do it anyways. Or maybe you like to do it in the moment, but it's not good for you in the long run. And then you're like, shoot, I shouldn't have done that. Like, I would have been better off not doing that. And so that's awareness after. And that's usually where people start with behavior change. And what needs to happen is you need to be able to identify the behavior during. So what I often recommend is to kind of almost like narrate the kind of story for yourself in your mind as you're doing something, kind of like those like old like wildlife documentaries where it's like, for instance, like Olesa is making a TikTok. Olesa doesn't know if this TikTok will be good, but Olesa keeps doing it anyways. And so that answers the question of all of you asking how to pronounce my name as well. But essentially, you can kind of narrate what you're doing in your mind as you're doing a behavior that maybe you don't love that you do. And that will create awareness during. This is not an instant process. And that's another problem that people have when they're trying to change behavior, is that this takes some time. Like, you did this so many times in the past that there's neuronal circuits and everything connected to this activity. And so in order to change, you actually need to create that repetition again and again and again and again. So then you'll have awareness during. And you'll be able to kind of catch it. You'll be able to narrate your behavior. And that kind of like distance between you and the behavior is really helpful for behavior change. Eventually, you'll come to the place where you'll be like, oh, you know, I know that whenever I, eat a bunch of chips after work, it's whenever I feel really frustrated with my job. And so then you might start to develop some awareness before, because you know that frustration leads to you eating a ton of chips, which you don't want to do because maybe chips make you feel bad. And so you will see that, like, okay, I see this frustration rising. And I know that typically when I think a lot of frustration thoughts that lead to the feeling of frustration, I come home and I eat a lot of chips. And so you'll be able to narrate that even before it happens. And again, keep narrating, keep kind of keeping that neutral tone, like that neutral voice in your mind. And eventually you'll be able to kind of have enough distance in order to actually change the behavior. And that's how behavior change works. It's a little bit maybe longer and more repetitive than most people think. But if you're actually able to go through this process, then you actually have sustainable behavior change, which I think a lot of people aren't able to achieve because they don't really understand how it works.